Hello, and welcome to Kloeker's Education Foundation, where we provide quality content for amazing teachers and students. If you're joining us from our previous video or previous series, welcome back. And if this is your first time, we're glad you're here. This is our World History series, and this lesson is on the geography of ancient Greece. Now, before we get started, don't forget to check out the link in the description below for a set of free guided notes to go along with this lesson. Let's dive in. Our objective for this lesson is that students will be able to analyze how the geography of Greece influenced the development of civilizations like the Minoans, the Mycenaeans, the Phoenicians, and the Dorians. And so our essential question, how did Greece's land and sea affect how the Greeks lived, worked, and built their communities? And if you missed that, that is on the screen for you. And so this lesson is divided into three sections. 1, Greek geography. 2, the early cultures that influenced Greece, such as the Minoans, the Mycenaeans. And 3, early Greek culture. The geography of ancient Greece is considerably different than those of the previous cultures that we have studied in our last unit with the 4 river valley civilizations. And the beginnings of the ancient Greek civilization are going to be shaped by several cultures that predate it, such as the Minoans, the Mycenaeans, the Phoenicians, and the Dorians. Greece is located at the southeast corner of Europe. It is a peninsula that sticks out into the Mediterranean Sea. You can see the ancient Greek areas nestled on the peninsula between the Ionian and the Aegean Sea, encompassing major landmarks such as Mount Olympus, Athens, Sparta, Crete, Rhodes, and even extending to the coastline of Asia Minor with cities such as Troy, and up to the Black Sea, encompassing cities like Constantinople or modern-day Istanbul. The geography is going to impact the development of ancient Greece, as it is a very mountainous peninsula that juts out into the Mediterranean Sea. It is well over 2,000 islands in the Aegean and the Ionian Sea, and the sea surrounding ancient Greece was as important to them as the rivers were to ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. It was their source of life. It was said the Greeks didn't live on land, but rather they lived around the sea. And because of the sea, they had to be good at building ships, fishing, and navigating these rather rough waters. And you can see even on this map, the mountainous peninsula of Greece. Now, as you see, the brown is higher elevation, the green is the lower elevations and generally flat, and of course the blue is water. But even the islands are very mountainous and do not have much living space on them. The geography of ancient Greece is going to make it difficult for those in the ancient civilization. It is lacking of natural resources such as farmland, timber, and other precious metals. Those were not issues in the river valley civilizations. The rough mountains are going to cover 3/4 of ancient Greece, or 75%. And these mountains not act only as a divide between the city-states that are in ancient Greece, but also make travel between city-states rather difficult over land, thus relying on boats in order to travel in many cases. It's hard to have large farms because you cannot irrigate up hills or up the sides of mountains, thus making it that the land could not support large populations. The climate can swing fairly greatly, as low as 48 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter and 80 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer. Now, during the Bronze Age in Greece, there are 3 distinct civilizations and cultures that pop up: the Clydactic, the Minoan, and the Mycenaean. The first we're going to talk about is the Minoan. They're going to influence a lot of ancient Greece, but their homeland is going to be on the island of Crete, with a big emphasis on their capital city of Knossos. Now, while many people know of the Minoans as inhabiting the island and having the mythological origins of the Minotaur, the half-man, half-bull creature that lived in the labyrinth, the Minoans are going to influence the early Greeks in many ways. They're going to give the ancient Greeks the architecture that they're so well known for. A lot of the burial customs and religious rituals come from the Minoans, and they were very outdoorsy and athletics and helped inspire the ancient Olympics in early Greece. The Phoenicians are going to come and influence ancient Greece as well and set up trading ports all around the Mediterranean. The Phoenicians are going to establish trading colonies throughout the Mediterranean. They're known to have influenced the spread of Greek culture because they're going to be excellent shipbuilders and influence and teach the Greeks how to build ships that can navigate the rough waters of the Mediterranean. This is going to allow the Phoenicians and the Greeks to trade throughout the Mediterranean Sea, even into the Black Sea with modern-day Ukraine, up to France, Spain, and even making it as far as England. Many simply do not realize how influential the Phoenicians were in the spreading of language and their alphabet that gets adopted into many of these ancient civilizations and influence us in the 21st century and beyond. Looking at letters in the Phoenician alphabet like A, E, Y, I, H, G, L, T, R, S, all of these are coming from the Phoenician alphabet, and with slight modifications get brought into Greek and Roman and even to modern-day English. Mycenae, located on the Greek mainland in a very influential spot near Corinth between Athens and Sparta, the historic rivals. You can see the ring around the Mediterranean, their culture and influence not just impacting ancient Greece, but also spreading across the Aegean to influence Asia Minor. The Mycenaeans, they're going to influence ancient Greece with religion, with art, politics, and the literature, with tales like the Iliad, the Odyssey, and the Aeneid. Now, they are going to be the Greeks that fought at Troy in the Trojan Wars, with the whole story of Agamemnon and Helen and Paris and Achilles. There is a movie called Troy starring Orlando Bloom, Eric Bana, Brad Pitt. It is a quite star-studded cast. And there are some accuracies such as the aesthetics, the basic framework of the story, and the characters. However, there are some things wrong, such as the timeline of the whole siege, some of the characters, when and where they die, their roles within the actual war. And there are a few scenes that are not appropriate for young children, so please proceed with caution if you choose to watch it. And the next major influence on ancient Greece is the Dorians. Now you can see they have quite a large influence on the west side of ancient Greece, throughout Arcadia and Laconia, and to the island of Crete, and across even into Asia Minor. Now it is unsure exactly historically where they came from, but the best estimate and guess is that they came from that upper west portion on the map, or modern-day Albania, and came down into ancient Greece. When they come in, they take over after the Mycenaeans as the major influence on culture. Again, not much is known about their origins. There's a lot less literature published within or written during this time period. There's a lot less tales, and so the Dorian control over ancient Greece is often referred to as the Dark Ages of ancient Greece. We see the beginnings of Greek culture. Due to the warm climate, Greeks enjoy and participate in outdoor activities. Most of their life is based outside. Due to the mountainous terrains and the seas, the Greeks create city-states where city-states are acting as independent countries, and due to the size, the scale, and the difficulty in traveling, we don't see many city-states owning another or occupying another city-states. And so it's not a Greek empire, but rather a civilization, which is the collection of all of the city-states. They share similarities in culture, but the politics and the military may differ from city to city. The ancient Greek civilization contributed in a lot of ways to philosophy, to science, mathematics, and history of not just the ancient world, but even to modern day. They provided and created the building blocks for many things. Plato, the founder of Western philosophy, Aristotle, Socrates, we have Pythagoras there, Ptolemy, Zoroaster. All of these are there and contributed, whether it was philosophy or mathematics with geometry, and Ptolemy with astrology. They're going to set some of the building blocks that we've built Western civilization on. And each of these city-states play an important role. Athens, Corinth, Thebes, and Rhodes, all of them contribute to the ancient Greek civilization. Now, there are some larger nations such as Macedonia, which controls multiple cities, lots of territory where the geography is a little bit more forgiving than on the Greek peninsula. The Greeks are not just influencing science and philosophy, they're influencing literature. Greek epics and stories or narrative poems are celebrating heroic deeds and characters such as Achilles in the Trojan War, Homer writing the Iliad, the story, the Odyssey. We have Greek mythology, stories of the Greek gods, and of course the mythical creatures such as the Cyclops, which are still referenced in society. Because the mountainous terrain made overland travel difficult, the Greeks relied on traveling via water and on boats and ships, becoming master shipbuilders. And when conflict made its way to the seas, building these amazing ships known as triremes, they have 3 tiers of rowers that are rowing and a giant bronze or iron battering ram at the front, meant to smash in to the opponent's boat. With many ancient civilizations impacting Greek architecture, can you see or think of any examples of ancient Greek architecture or classical architecture being included in modern day society? The ancient Greeks are going to pioneer democracy out of Athens, create Western philosophical thought with Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle. Their warfare techniques will be the basis of many great empires, such as Alexander the Great and the Macedonians, and that of ancient Rome. And of course, their architecture, classical architecture, is going to inspire many even to this day. The Greeks have a story of battling against the world's superpower, the Persians, at the time, and finding strength and victory through the unity of the city-states. But ultimately, Alexander the Great is going to expand the Greek influence even further, blending Greek, Persian, and Egyptian cultures as he conquers the ancient world. So take a few moments and answer our essential question in the guided notes. How did Greece's land and sea affect how the Greeks lived, worked, and built their communities? That wraps up our lesson. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check us out on Teachers Pay Teachers, YouTube, Rumble, and the Kloeker Education Foundation website. We have a ton of resources there and a ton of free videos for you as well. You can check out our other videos on ancient Greece, on the Persian Wars, the Athenian Golden Age, or Alexander the Great and his empire. And if you're feeling dangerous, you can skip to the next unit where we are delving into the complexities of the Roman empires. They copied the gods, they improved the weapons and strategies, built a massive empire that encompassed the known world. It isn't mythology, it's the Roman Empire. All of that and more is just a click away. I'll see you there.